Well, welcome everybody to Oils for Dudes. I'm glad that you could join us tonight. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Josh Decker. My wife and I, Kim, we are distributors with Young Living Essential Oils, and tonight we're going to talk about guys because I think a lot of times guys don't really understand how oils work, number one, or that it's something more than just kind of this frou-frou thing. So we're going to dig really specifically into some of the uses that guys have for oils and some of the tips and tricks of how to use them for more manly kind of things, including things like hunting, believe it or not. So I hope that you're ready to go ahead and get started. I'm going to turn off my camera here in just one hot second, and we're going to get rolling with the class for tonight. Now, for those of you that don't know, we do a class every, whoops. There we go. We do a class twice a month for people for you actually on webinars here, and so we hope that you join us for those. Those classes are normally the first and third Tuesdays of the month. However, next month we are going to skip the first one simply because my son is having surgery that day, and so we will not be having a class. But other than that, we do have those classes every first and third Tuesday, these webinars. If you happen to be in the Heartland, Highland, Brighton, Howell, Milford area of Michigan, would love to have you. We do the same topics that we do on webinars, but we actually meet together at the Big B of Heartland, and we have a class there, and that's on the second and fourth Thursdays. So tonight's topic is oils for dudes. So let me tell you, guys, when I first got introduced to oils, first I just dismissed them. Want to get that out of the way right now. My wife was the one who kind of paid more attention to them, and for her, it was really because of our son that we got into oils. As many of you have probably heard, he had a pretty significant skin issue that needed a little bit of extra support. We tried anything and everything we could think of that people recommended, that the doctors recommended. Nothing seemed to work. Somebody introduced us to Young Living, and the oils that we tried with him provided the support that his skin needed, and it started getting healthier looking. And so that was what introduced us to these oils and why we've gotten involved in them. Now, even once we got involved in it, as I started seeing them do what they do for my kids, I still kind of dismissed them. No, I don't really need them. I'm a guy. I'll just use the manly stuff, right? And slowly what I have found is that manly stuff is really not so good for you. So we are all human, whether you're a guy or girl. And so as humans, one of the things to know is that our skin is the largest organ that we have. And about 60% of whatever we put on our skin gets through to our blood and then circulates around to every organ of our body. So if you think about that, I've spent the last little bit over a week working on my car with the dirt and the grime and the oil and the grease and all that stuff, right? And the entire time I was working on my car, I kept thinking, man, 60% of everything that's getting on my hands is getting through to my bloodstream and then circulating around in my body. And so when we think about the manly things to use and start looking at what's in it, there's really better options. And so that's what we want to focus on tonight is what are some of those options for guys and how do we do it? So we're going to talk about ways to use oils from an outdoor to grooming during exercise or after exercise in the bedroom. That'll be a lot of fun and a whole lot more. And chances are if you're here, these oils are already in your house, right? And so you should know how to use them in some way, shape, or form aside from I'll go get those for my wife. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in and start looking at these. So the first one we're going to look at is muscles. So I mentioned before that I've been working on my car for the last a little bit over a week. And by the way, that was a project, right, that I know every guy can relate to. So you get started, you think, oh, this is going to be an easy project, and everything that could go wrong does go wrong. That was the project I had with my car. And so, it tested me from my character to my strength. And now, a little bit over a week later, every muscle in my body hurts. All right. It's just that sore because I was using them in ways that they weren't used to being used. And so there are oils to help us. So whether it's you went out and exercised, or you were working on a project, or whatever it is, there are these oils that can really help. So the Cool Azul Sports Gel is really, really good, as is Deep Relief and Panaway and Peppermint. Now, Deep Relief, Panaway, and Peppermint. Deep Relief and Panaway both have peppermint in them. They also have wintergreen. And then peppermint, of course, is really good. Peppermint on its own, I think it kind of has a cooling sensation, right? So we've all used Icy Hot, which, by the way, is not really good for you, okay? But we've all used it. You put it on, it kind of warms up, and then it kind of cools down. And so peppermint has kind of that cooling feeling when you put it on your skin. Doesn't happen to do it to my hands for some reason, but other parts of my body it does. Panaway and Deep Relief are just great oils to use when your muscles are sore, and they're both really good. They both work in a little bit different way, have some similar ingredients, but tackle different things. But those are really, really good. And then Cool Azul is really good for joints and muscles and stuff like that. There's also one that's not listed on here because I made up this slide before it was available. It just released, is the Cool Azul Pain Relief Cream. So if you've done something and you need that pain relief, get the Cool Azul Pain Relief Cream. Okay, I'll just put that out there. So these are some great oils to use to relax. Now, what I did, so last night, yesterday, all day I spent with my father-in-law. As we know, that can be a lot of fun, right? And we were tearing tires off of one car and putting it onto a new car because the new car had not so great tires on it. And we decided to save a little bit of money and not take him down to the shop to have that done, but to do it ourselves. He had the tools necessary. Well, that was a lot of fun. If you've never broken down and mounted tires, let me tell you, it strains you, even with the right tools. And so I came home, and I'm talking from my shoulders to my feet. Everything hurt. And so after I cleaned up, I looked at my wife. I said, you got to put some oils on me. I put some Panaway on my arms and my shoulders because my arms were just hurting, and she put peppermint just up and down my back to help relax all of those muscles so I could get some sleep last night. Feeling this morning, still, I'll be honest, in quite a bit of pain. Going to do it again tonight, but allowed me enough relief last night to be able to relax and to sleep. So these oils work, guys. So make sure that that you test them. So moving right along, let's talk about shaving. So as guys, it's one of our dubious tasks, right, to shave, unless, of course, you're a hermit mountain man in West Virginia or Colorado, right? Most of us are going to shave from time to time. And one of the challenges I have found is shaving in a way that, number one, gets close. So that's going to be with the razor that you use, but also using product that is healthy for you and doesn't leave this, kind of weird, man, now my mind just completely went blank. But this like weird film or something on your skin, as we've all experienced with different shaving gels and shaving creams, and that kind of stuff. Shutron shaving cream is the solution to that. Now, part of why I like the Shutron shaving cream is because it has the Shutron oil in it, which Shutron, which we're going to talk more about here in a few minutes, is really good for supporting healthy hormone levels in men. Now, it's good for both men and women. So if the wife wants to use it to shave her legs and wherever else, right, go for it. But for guys, this is really good, okay, to help support those healthy hormones. So this is a really good product to have. Works exceptionally well and leaves your skin feeling nice and soft. So definitely would recommend that for everybody. But let's talk about an area that's maybe a little bit more I don't want to say important, but obvious to a lot of us, which is our hair. So I'm getting up there now, even though I don't like to think of myself. I remember waking up about a year ago or so and looking in the mirror and going, oh my gosh, I think my hair is thinning out. I'm going, oh no, I'm going to go bald before I'm 40. And there's reasons why we have problems with our hair. So if you've got hair, my hair was wiry and coarse, and just wasn't fun, right? And so I would put product in it to try and style it, or just get it to lay flat, and all of that, and it worked okay, but it was artificial. And you could tell my hair just wasn't the way it should be. Now, I told my wife, because I've been putting oils on my hair now for, gosh, maybe about 2 months or so. And I told her to just feel my hair. And she was like, oh my gosh, it's almost as soft as baby's hair. And that's what you can do with it. It's also looks like, she said, that it's starting to fill back in where I was going, where I was starting to go thin. And so oils can definitely help support healthy looking hair. Now, this slide recommends adding it to your shampoo. I don't do that. What I do is just I put it on my hands, I rub it around on my head. So personally, I use 2 drops of rosemary in the morning, put that on my head as well as my beard. I'll put another drop or so on my hands. And what I do is I just put a drop on my hands and I roll it around a little bit between the 2 hands, not hard and not a lot, just a little bit to get it on both hands. And then I'll put it on my hair and try and get it down as far as I can. Okay. But rosemary in the morning, cedarwood at night. Part of why I use cedarwood at night is because it helps you relax. And for me, helps me get a really good night's sleep. So that's my routine. I've used both of these, and I tell you, I love feeling my hair now. In fact, my wife tells me, stop asking me to feel your hair, because I'm always looking at her saying, here, feel it. It's so soft. So this really works. Even if you just want healthier looking hair that's a little bit softer, these are great options for you. Okay. Moving right along, let's talk about sleep. Listen, sleep is important for all of us, right? And guys, we know that sleep can be difficult, because sometimes we are carrying the weight of the world around on our shoulders, right? We're worried about our finances, we're worried about our kids, we're worried about the safety of our family, we're worried about our spouses, we're worried about the crazy person who lives next door. I mean, there's a lot that weighs on our mind, that I know women have got a lot on their mind. We have it in a different way. And so getting good sleep is important. Sleep deprivation can lead to anxiety and can lead to depression. It can cause mood swings. It can lead to things like diabetes. There's all sorts of things that sleep deprivation does. And so you want to be really, really careful to make sure that you're getting the right amount of sleep. And so number one, that means go to bed, right? And get up and get up, go to bed, lay down, and go to sleep. So that's one thing. Don't wait until 2 in the morning every morning to go to sleep, and then try and get up at 6. Okay, go to bed at a decent time. All right, try and get 6 to 8 hours of sleep. No matter who you are, really, you should be aiming for that 6 to 8 hours. And if you're having a problem, don't be afraid to get some help with it. Now, I'm not saying go to the store and get Benadryl or NyQuil or any of that kind of stuff. Okay, what I'm saying is there are natural oils that help support healthy sleep. Lavender is one. Tranquil is a blend that is really, really good. And then, like I mentioned before, cedarwood, not on this screen, but cedarwood's one that we use in our home as part of our bedtime routine, for me as well as for our kids. So make sure you give sleep some priority in your life. I'm actually going to be doing a class on sleep specifically in May. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. Make sure to connect to us on Facebook, and you'll see announcements about that coming up here. All right, moving right along. So let's talk about the bedroom. This is always a fun one to talk about. So guys, I saw a video earlier today of, oh shoot, what's the name of that show? Shoot, now I can't even I can see the guy's face in my mind, and I can't think of his name or what the name. Oh, Family Feud, there we go. So I was watching a clip of Family Feud, and the question was, or the statement was, I would do blank for sex, right? And there was all these things, and the women in the audience, or not in the audience, but on the panel, got it wrong, every single one of them, right? But the guys got it right, every single one of them, right? Because this plays a special place for all guys. Women, I can't explain it to you except to say this is the way that we're designed. And so giving some support in the bedroom can sometimes be helpful. So Shutron is an oil. It is a blend. I mentioned before that it is great for supporting healthy hormones in men as well as in women. Shutron also boosts the feeling masculinity and confidence. Okay. Part of that is because when you have healthy hormones in your body, you feel the way that you should. So Shutron is really, really good for that. Sensation is a massage oil that helps to inspire passion. And that's good on both men and women. Without going into too much detail, I can tell you my wife got Sensation for us, and she loves it, and so do I. It stays in our bedroom with us. Okay, enough said right there. Both are really, really good. So if you want to take your intimate life, we'll say, to a new level, these are some oils to definitely try. All right, enough of the bedroom. Let's move on. All right, so let's talk about cleaning and some guy type stuff, right? Aside from sex. So lavender is not what we're talking about, but that is known as the Swiss Army knife of essential oils because it does so many things. Lemon should be called the duct tape. Okay, and that's because it again can be used for many, many things. We're talking about removing stains with like grease and oil. We're talking about loosening rusty screws or removing gum and sticky residue. All of that kind of stuff, it can be really good for. Lemon and tea tree can be used to clean chrome wheels. So if you're looking for a way to do some of the guy things that we do without having some of the chemicals that we normally expose ourselves to, this is a great way. Okay. By the way, when we start using chemicals to do things like clean our wheels and polish and wax our car and that kind of stuff, this stuff gets on our skin, right? And again, 60% of what gets on our skin gets into our blood and then gets into our organs and then causes problems. Some of the problems that this causes is what we call free radicals in the body. Free radicals are molecules in the body that are missing one particular atom, and so it becomes what they call a free radical, and these are the molecules that really push forward cancer cells. Okay, so free radicals are really supportive of cancer. And so when we think about how do we avoid that, number one, we think about, well, what can we not expose ourselves to? But then number two is how do we get rid of these free radicals? And some of these oils and products can be really helpful with getting rid of this stuff out of your body. Lemon is one of those oils that if you ingest it, which there is an ingestible form of lemon, it's called Lemon Vitality. Okay, if you ingest lemon, then that helps to detox your body a little bit. Okay, so this is really good stuff. You can use it. It's non-toxic. It helps do some of the stuff that we would normally do anyway. Plus, it's going to benefit you if you happen to get it on your skin. All right, so it's really beneficial to keep some of this around. Plus, here's the other part I like about lemon. It's not expensive. We're talking a 15 ml bottle is like $11, a little bit over 11. I think it's like 11 and a quarter. Okay, so it's not expensive at all. Stock up on it, right? Replace some of the stuff in your garage with this. However, don't keep this in your garage. Make sure you keep it in a cool, dark area, not exposed to sunlight, not exposed to extreme temperature changes. Okay, just make sure you pay attention to that. All right, moving right along. So let's talk about eating. What guy doesn't like to eat? Right, and what do we like to eat? A lot of us like spicy foods. We like a little bit of salty foods. We like to experiment with our foods a little bit, right? And oftentimes, what does that lead us to? Maybe not having the best feeling stomach, aside from feeling maybe a little bit bloated. So there's some ways to help with that. First off, Digize. Digize is an incredible oil that really helps to support healthy digestion and helps to keep down feelings of unhealthy digestion right after you eat, if you understand what I mean. So Digize, keep it around. You can take it in a capsule if you have Digize Vitality. You can take it in water if you have Vitality. You can rub it on your stomach or on your the lower part of your throat if you just have the regular Digize. Okay, so that's the way that you use it. I've used it both ways. I can tell you, depending on what I'm dealing with, sometimes it's really effective on the stomach and helps to relax things there. Sometimes it's healthy on the throat or helpful on the throat. Sometimes it's helpful just to take it. I've taken it with water as opposed to in a capsule and just drank it that way, and works really, really well. So I'd strongly recommend it. It may not taste the greatest. It may not smell the greatest, but I'll tell you what, it's effective. And it's a whole lot better for you than some of the other products out there that you can use. But part of what causes problems with digestion is issues with the gut. And so that's where a couple of these supplements come in. So Essential Zymes is formulated to aid the critically needed digestion of dietary fats, proteins, fiber, and carbohydrates. So think about it. We like meat and potatoes, right? One of my favorite places to go eat is Logan's, because I can sit there and munch on peanuts while we're waiting for our food. And it used to be I could throw the shells on the ground. What guy wouldn't like that? And then I get my steak and I get potatoes, and they have these amazing rolls. So we're talking high protein with high fat with lots of starch, right? That wreaks a little bit of havoc on your system. Essential Zymes 4 is formulated to help with that because of how our diets are currently. So that's a really good supplement. Then Life 5 goes along with that because, again, of how things are that we eat and some of what we consume, the gut is not healthy. And so some of the bacteria that we are supposed to have in our digestive tract is not there. Life 5 is a probiotic that helps promote that healthy bacteria in your gut. So if you want to eat the spicy foods, that's fine. You just got to support your system a little bit better. Okay, so all of these are really, really good for helping to do that. All right, let's talk about our breath, because I've been victim a couple of times to drinking my coffee. I know a lot of guys like coffee, right? And then afterwards, my wife looks at me and says, "Hey, your breath smells like coffee." Right? So there are ways to handle that. Number one, if you're out and about and you're going to be eating something that may not smell the greatest, whether it's got onions in it or garlic or whatever, or you're drinking coffee, whatever that thing is, just carry some peppermint with you. All right, and take Peppermint Vitality. Take that Peppermint Vitality, rub it on your teeth, put a drop on your tongue. It's going to feel a little bit interesting. It might tingle a little bit for a couple of minutes. It's not going to hurt you, okay? But that helps to really freshen up. But beyond the peppermint, from kind of an immediate thing, let's talk about oral health. So did you know that most toothpaste that you buy at the store has antifreeze in it? It's it's an ingredient called propylene glycol is what's in it. That's really, really bad for you. Okay, look it up, Google it, find out what propylene glycol does. Really not so good. So there are other alternatives. So from Young Living, there's the Thieves toothpaste, which we use in my house, as well as the mouthwash. My kids use it. My wife and I use it. We've started sharing it with our extended family. We firmly believe in this toothpaste. Here's the thing. Toothpaste shouldn't foam. Okay, and so when you start getting toothpaste that foams and makes you feel like, oh my gosh, this is doing something, here's what's going on. It's got a chemical in it that makes it foam. That's all. And the only reason they add that chemical, it's not needed. They add it to make it foam so that you feel like it's doing something. Okay, that's all. So your toothpaste does not need to foam. This is not going to foam in your mouth, just so you know. But it's going to work. You don't have to use a lot of it. So Thieves is an incredible oil in terms of what it does to support a healthy immune system. And so when you're brushing your teeth with a Thieves product, okay, so it's got the Thieves oil in it, you're supporting your immune system as well as cleaning your teeth and caring for that oral hygiene, okay? So that Thieves toothpaste is really, really important. But then the mouthwash is also really good. I wish I could tell you of all the cool things that we have used the mouthwash for. Just know, oral health, any oral health issues, use some Thieves mouthwash, and it will help support your oral health. Okay, that's about as much as I can say for that. I will tell you, it is a little bit interesting tasting. They recommend to use one capful. It doesn't feel like a whole lot in your mouth. It is enough, and trying to keep it in your mouth long enough. I used to use Listerine. This has a much different feel than Listerine does. It's not the burn because it's alcohol like what Listerine is. It's a different kind of burn, if you will. And part of that's because it's got the Thieves, which does have peppermint in it, okay? But it's really, really good for you, and it leaves your breath smelling amazing, okay? So strongly recommend both of these. And again, not just for you, but for your spouses, for your kids, for everybody. All right, great product to have. All right, moving right along. Let's talk about being outside. So as guys, part of what we do is a lot of times we're the ones responsible for caring for our lawns, for taking care of the outside maintenance of the house. those kinds of things. And in doing so, I don't know about you, I really can't stand some of the pests that come along with that. And so there is a solution for that, and that is oils. Specifically, there is peppermint. Okay, so peppermint can do a number of things for you. The first thing that peppermint can do is it can just make you a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more fun, if you will, to be out there. So it's a little bit cooling when you put it on your skin. It definitely kind of refreshes you. Peppermint's also an energizing oil, so if you put it on, it can help give you that little boost of energy that you might need as you're working out in the lawn. But here's the other thing: it helps keep some of those pests away, and that can be really, really helpful. Not having to deal with some of the pests as you're out mowing the lawn, as you're weed whipping, as you're gardening, as you're doing whatever it is. Peppermint is really, really helpful for that. So definitely keep it around when you're going outside to do some yard work or whatever. Put some on your arms, put a little bit on the back of your neck, wherever you want to put it. Just again, be aware that it's going to create a little bit of a cooling sensation. One caution I should give you: if you are using this and you put it on your hands, just make sure to keep your hands clear of your eyes, because if you do put your fingers near your eyes, it will cause some irritation. I have done this accidentally. I wish I could only say once. I didn't learn my lesson. I've done it like 2 or 3 times. But imagine that cooling sensation I talked about before, but right at your eyes. Okay, that's what will happen. And this can happen 45 minutes after you've put the oil on, because I don't want to say the residue is still there, but the essence of the oil is still there. And so it can still cause that to happen. So there's a couple of ways that you can get rid of that. One, you could wash your hands with a soap that really isn't the greatest for you, which would be something like Dawn. I wouldn't recommend that. What I would recommend is just try and keep your hands clear of your eyes. And if for some reason you get anything near your eyes, here's how you deal with it, like within seconds. Go get some coconut oil. We buy our coconut oil. It's organic from Costco. That's where we buy ours from. You can buy it wherever. I would strongly recommend making sure it's organic coconut oil. Okay, but just get a little bit of that coconut oil, just a little bit on your fingertip, rub it right in the corner of your eye, and boom. I'm talking it's seconds, like 2 to 3 seconds, and that fresh, cooling feeling is gone. So definitely keep some of that around. If you don't want to use coconut oil, any other type of carrier oil is fine. You can Google carrier oils. Young Living has an incredible carrier oil called the V6 Vegetable Complex. You can also use grapeseed oil, sweet almond oil, extra virgin first press organic olive oil. There's a number of different oils that you can use. So all of those work really, really well. Again, my personal preference and favorite is the coconut oil. All right, so enough on that one. Let's keep going. So most of us at times have a little challenge getting uptight. We mentioned before, or I mentioned before, that sleeping can be a challenge for us, that sometimes we have the weight of the world running around on our shoulders. I don't know if you've got kids or not. I do. I have 2 and 1 on the way. And sometimes they get under my skin, and I really don't like for them to. I don't, not that I don't like them to get under, I don't like the fact that I allow them to get under my skin, but sometimes it happens. And so when it happens, Stress Away is an incredible oil. So whenever you start feeling like that stress building up, whether it's your kids getting under your skin, something happened at work, the neighbors get on your nerves, whatever that thing is, when you start feeling that like, oh, there's a reaction there that I don't really like and is really unnecessary, put some Stress Away on, and it will calm you down. I'm talking 1 to 2 drops right on the back of your neck. There's actually a great spot on the back of your neck to put it. And so if you feel the back of your neck, that kind of knot right at the bottom of your neck, top of your back, that's where your neck connects to your back. Just up from that, we all have a little dip, if you will, right in the middle of our neck. And for me, it's like right at the at the hairline, so I have to kind of get past my hair. But that is a great spot to put these oils, especially if you're dealing with some sort of emotion that you're trying to influence. Because what that is, that's the spinal cord right there. That is a great spot for the oils to get in and just do the work that they're supposed to do. So I'd put it there. You can put it a little bit lower if you want. You can always put it on your feet. There's a number of places that you can put it. You can just diffuse it if you want. Put 4 or 5 drops in a diffuser with some water and just diffuse it. Sit next to it. Take a breath, just sit there, recenter yourself, just calm yourself down a little bit. But that's a really incredible oil to use. Now, for guys, some of us may not really like the smell of Stress Away, and that's because it I don't want to say it's fruity, but it is a blend of lime and vanilla as well as some other oils in there. But lime and vanilla are very strong from the smell factor. Okay, so if you don't like the smell, that's okay. You don't have to like the smell for it to do its job. All right, so if you don't like the smell, that's when you would do something like put it on your feet. Or if you're going to diffuse it, mix it with something like orange. I really like orange. I put that on every day, at least 2 drops, because I just like that smell so much. So put it with another oil that you like the smell of better, and it will help you tolerate the smell of Stress Away. There aren't many people that I have met who don't like the smell of Stress Away. Most people, because I wear it, out when I go into stores, most people I run across are like, wow, what's that smell? It smells really good. Great for them. I've met some guys who really don't care for it. So just know you don't have to put it on your neck. You don't have to put it someplace where you're going to smell it strongly. Put it on your feet. It's still going to do the job that it needs to do. But this is really good. I've talked to a lot of people who've experienced Stress Away, and this is one of the first oils most people run out of because they see the difference in their lives. They see the difference in how they feel. And then usually their family's looking at them saying, hey, you got to go get some more of that. Okay, so it's really a good oil to have on hand and to be using and to really take into consideration if you're wanting to change some things in your life and stress is an issue for you. All right, so we'll move on from that. All right, let's talk about toenails. Guys, we have gross feet. I hate to tell you this, but we have incredibly gross feet. And so we want to take care of them just because we don't want to, at minimum, we don't want to gross out our spouses when we take our socks off at night, right? So there's a couple of things that you can do. One, you can go get pedicures, or you can use some oils. And so the oils that you'd want to use is tea tree and oregano. So that gives it kind of I don't want to say a real woodsy smell because oregano is not really woodsy smelling, but it's definitely not the flowery, kind of fruity type of smell. So it's a little bit more raw, if you will. It might be a good way to talk about that. So just put some in with, mix the two together. I'd say equal parts in with a carrier oil and just roll it on. If you don't want to do the mixing, that kind of stuff, here's what I do. A drop of each on your hand, roll it around a little bit, and then put it on both feet. That's all you got to do. And just make sure you put it across your toenails. I'd also make sure to get your cuticles. And if you're like me, I didn't know what cuticles were for a while. So ask your wife or ask a woman in your life. She'll explain to you what the cuticle of your nail is. But you want to make sure you get the whole nail, and the cuticle would be what I would recommend for you. Okay, so let's talk about some blends, some things that you could pull together. So as you may have seen on the video a little bit earlier, I do have a beard. And so this next one I really like myself, and that is the Big Daddy beard oil. And no, I didn't come up with that. That was somebody else's idea, but I really like it. So here's what it is. So it's 7 milliliters of jojoba oil, or mils as we call it, 3 mils of grapeseed oil. Okay, both of those you can buy at the grocery store. Again, make sure you get organic. Okay, you don't have to go to someplace like Whole Foods, although you can. Most grocery stores now carry organic foods of some sort. And then from an oils perspective, from Young Living's perspective, just it's like what? 7 drops, 8 drops of oil. So it's 3 drops of cedarwood, 3 drops of bergamot, and 2 drops of peppermint. Now, let me tell you, I use this when I go to bed, in part because it's got the cedarwood on it. I know cedarwood helps me relax, and and I don't want to have a problem staying awake when I'm supposed to be, up and being alert and attentive and that kind of stuff. So I put it on when I go to bed, but you just, little bit all across your beard, softens it, makes it look nice. Just definitely really starts to shape the texture of your beard, make it a little bit more palpable. I know my oldest, he's 8 years old. I used to kiss him and he's like, "Oh, Daddy, your beard is sharp." And this helps you get away from that. Okay, so can strongly recommend this blend for you. Now let's talk about muscles. So we talked earlier about how Cool Azul Sports Gel and peppermint and deep relief and Panaway are great oils to have. What can you do to mix up something for yourself, right? With maybe a few oils that might be around your house. Well, there's this mix here. You can do the full 20 drops. You can do a smaller amount if you want. The 20 drops each is going to make 15 milliliters or 15 mils of oil, which would be great to put into a bottle. If you've got an empty Young Living bottle hanging around, take the label off, use that, put a roller cap on it, and that way you can just roll it on whenever you need it. But lemongrass, which is really, really good to support ligaments, okay? Copaiba, which is really, really good to support aches, around. Idaho balsam fir is really good. Copaiba and Idaho balsam fir actually are really good just to help relax muscles and relax areas of tension in your body. Wintergreen is really, really good for muscles and for joints. And then peppermint is really good for muscles. So you have a lot of oils here combined that work really well together. And this blend specifically is really, really good. And I keep saying they're really, really, I can't express how well this works, right? But it works that well. So definitely mix some of this together. If you ever run out of Panaway or Deep Relief, give this blend a try, and you will be good until you can get some more of those other oils back in stock. From a carrier oil perspective, again, there's a number of carrier oils that you can use. If you're doing a blend like this, I wouldn't recommend standard coconut oil because it does solidify. You can either use fractionated coconut oil, which means it stays a liquid, or you can use one of the other oils. So the V6 vegetable complex is really good. Then you also have the grapeseed oil, the sweet almond oil, olive oil, avocado oil. There's a number of them. Again, just make sure you get organic. And if you get something like avocado oil or olive oil, the best thing to do is to get what we call first cold pressed. Okay, so the first press, that means it's the first oil to come out when they press it, because you can press it multiple times. And when we start pressing it multiple times, sometimes they apply steam to it, sometimes they apply other like solvents to it and stuff like that to draw out the oils. So first press is good. And then because these plants are already oily, you don't need to steam them. You don't need to add solvents to them. So you want what we call cold press. They basically just stick it in a press and they apply pressure and it squeezes out the oil. That's what cold press means. Okay, so use something like that if you use an oil that comes from like avocado or olive or those kinds of things. All right, hopping off my soapbox here. So this is a really good blend to keep around for those muscles and stuff like that. Stinky Pea. This isn't just for guys, but I'm not going to talk about that tonight. I think guys, we have sweaty feet, and we're not the only people who suffer from this, but we got to keep that under control. Guys, we don't want our wives or our kids to go, "Oh man, Dad's shoes smell again," especially our gym shoes, right? So there's a way to solve that. You don't have to go get the Gold Bond medicated powder. Okay, my son came into my bathroom last week as I was getting ready to go one day, and he looked up in my medicine cabinet, and there was a really old bottle of Gold Bond powder. And he says, "Dad, what's that?" I said, "Well, that's foot powder. You put it in your shoes to keep your shoes from stinking." I said, "It's really old. I need to throw it out." He says, "Well, we don't use that anymore." I said, "I know." He says, "We use oils." I said, "I know." So we got to get rid of it. But that's, what this can take the place of. So what you would want to do is take 6 tablespoons of cornstarch or arrowroot, 3 tablespoons of baking soda, and then 20 drops of purification oil. Now, you can use other oils if you want: tea tree oil, peppermint, eucalyptus, clove, thieves, whatever your preference is. If you're dealing with some sort of fungus issue or something like that on your feet, I would recommend maybe the thieves. Okay. But if it's just smell, in my opinion, the best oil for taking care of smells is purification. We use it in the bottom of our diaper pail, and it works amazing. Okay, so it does work for shoes as well. So what you would do is mix this up. The drops of purification, it's not enough to make the powder like clumpy or anything like that. You do want to let it dry out, okay? But once that's dried out, then you're going to go ahead and put a tablespoon of this in each shoe and let it sit. And then the next day, just like you would do with Gold Bond, clean it out, shake it out, and put your shoes on. Don't forget to clean it out. Otherwise, when you take your shoes off, you're going to get powder all over the place. Okay, makes a big mess. But otherwise, it's really, really good. So that's a great powder to keep the stink down. All right, let's talk about a hand scrub for a minute. So when we work on cars, we get really dirty. I know every day last week when I came in, I was in the shower and I had just a brush and I was just scrubbing all over, trying to get the grease and the gunk and the dirt and the grime off from working on the car. Depending on how dirty you get, that might be necessary, but there is an alternative. So a lot of us who work on cars, we use the orange hand cleaner that you can get at the auto parts store. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell you what the ingredients are on that, so I don't know. I do know that a lot of soaps and stuff have some pretty harsh chemicals in it. And again, 60% of what we put on our skin gets in our blood, goes through our organs, okay? So we want to be really careful. So there is a hand scrub that you can create. And so this is what it is. It's white sugar. I would recommend getting, again, organic if you can, because again, this is going on your skin, and that means it's going to go into your body. Okay. Now you're not rubbing it in or anything like that, but just keep in mind. Okay. So it's a cup of white sugar. It's at least a 1/4 cup of sweet almond or grapeseed oil. It's 20 drops of lemon essential oil, and you put it in an 8-ounce mason jar. I have used this. It is amazing. Okay. It does, because it's got that sugar in it. It's kind of rough feeling, even more so than the orange cleaner is with the pumice. But it works incredibly well. And here's what your wife is going to like. Because it's got the sugar in it, it's actually going to soften your hands. So, so that's really good as well. And, you might share this with your wife and just say, hey, we might want to keep some of this around the house. I was actually at a Harley Davidson that I know one of my friends works at, who also is into oils and does some of these scrubs. And in their bathrooms, they have the normal soaps, but then on the counter, they also have this sugar scrub. So the guys, and I assume women, I didn't go into the women's room, but so people can wash their hands with this instead of the normal soap. So really, really good. And lemon is incredible from a cleaning perspective. So just as effective as the soap that's going to be on the wall wherever you happen to be. So make up some of this. You're going to love it. It works really, really well. Again, depending on how deep and dirty you get, you still might have to get in the shower and scrub off. But this will at least take care of stuff that, the orange with pumice is going to take care of. All right, the last thing is, let's talk about hunting. Now, I just have to admit to you, I am not a hunter, but I've had a lot of friends who are. And one of the biggest problems that hunters face is covering your scent, right? Going out into the woods and making sure that you can cover your scent when you go out. That way you don't smell like a human, because that's going to repel your wildlife, people that you're attracting, or the animals you're trying to attract. So there's a way to do that. And that's, again, with essential oils. Now, here's the thing. You want about 2 ounces of water. You're going to put it in a spray bottle. Glass is preferable here if you can. If not, a normal spray bottle will work. Just know that the spray bottle may not last real long. Okay. But use a woodsy sort of smelling oil that is native to your area, or is naturally in your area. Okay. So like, I wouldn't necessarily use Idaho balsam fir in deep South Florida. because fur doesn't grow in southern Florida. Okay, so use something that's close where you are. Most places pine grows, so that's a good oil. If it just use pine, right? Now, if you're out in the middle of the desert, pine doesn't grow so well in the desert. You might want to look at, look at a different oil. But use something, do a little bit of research, find out what's natural in your area, and then you mix about 20 drops of that oil with about 2 ounces of water, and you just spray yourself down. And that's going to help cover your scent, and it's going to be good. It's not going to repel the wildlife like it should. So for those of you that are hunters among us, that's your tip for tonight. And lastly, let's talk about staying healthy. So, we are on the short end of summer, which means I live in Michigan. We're heading back toward winter here in just the next couple of months. So I'm thinking always about, what am I going to do to stay healthy this winter, to keep my kids healthy this winter? Thieves products are incredible. I already talked about the toothpaste and the mouthwash. The rest of the product line is also really good. So we're talking about hand cleaners. We're talking about the Thieves lozenges. We're talking about the new Thieves cough drops, which just came out on the market. That spray you see right there on the screen, which is that little bottle looking thing right in the middle of the screen. We use that. We carry that with us. And instead of using hand sanitizer or actually even washing our hands in public bathrooms with their soap, we do our business. We rinse our hands, and then we go to my wife, give me some spray. And she sprays it down with that. And that's just as effective for taking care of keeping our hands clean. Obviously, well, we won't go into that. And then there's, of course, just the Thieves oil. So Thieves, as I've mentioned before, is incredible for supporting a healthy immune system. If you don't have Thieves, you need to get some. It's also really good for cleaning. So we use Thieves in our house to clean all sorts of stuff. There's different products that Young Living has, including a Thieves General Household Cleaner. You dilute that, and you can use it from anything from in your cleaning your windows and mirrors, in your dishwasher, degreasing your oven, in with your laundry. I mean, cleaning your carpet. It can be used for everything, right? Dusting. It can be used for everything. There's also some products that you don't have to mix it up. It's already prepared for you. So there's laundry soap, there's dishwasher powder, there's dish soap, the liquid dish soap that you'd use in the sink. There's hand soap that's ready to go. So there's all sorts of different Thieves products that you can get. And again, it's great for cleaning, but it also is incredible for supporting your immune system. So definitely would recommend looking at that, especially as we're about a month or so away from kids going back to school, and that means they're going to be sharing germs again. And we want to keep everybody healthy in the home. This is a great product to have. So I appreciate you being here. It's about 9:15 right now, so we wrapped up just a little bit early from what we normally do. But what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. And for those of you that did come tonight, I want to just say thank you for coming, and especially if you're not already using Young Living, man, I appreciate you being here and taking time. I can tell you that a lot of the oils that we talked about tonight are included in what's called the Premium Starter Kit. I just put a little thing up. It should be on your screen. And as a thank you gift, I'd like to give you $20 off. So if you're not a Young Living member currently, I'd like to give you $20 off a Premium Starter Kit. That way you can get some of these oils in your house and get them in your family or with your family, and you can start seeing what kind of difference these can make for both the men of the crowd as well as for the rest of the family. So but here's the thing, this is only available through me. So if you go to somebody else and say, hey, I went to this webinar and this guy named Josh Decker said he'd give us $20 off, that person's not going to honor that likely. That does come from my wife Kim and I. So again, we'd love to thank you for coming and joining us tonight. So just hit the button there and or give us a call. My number here is area code 810-207-5115. You can also email us. Our email address is oilyourhealth, YL. So it's all one word, all squeezed together. And the last two letters are Y like young and L like living. So oilyourhealthyl@gmail.com. You can also visit our website, oilyourhealth.com. and get information there. But definitely reach out to us. And then the last thing is, like I mentioned, we do these classes about twice a month. So the first one in August we are not doing because my youngest is having surgery. So that first Tuesday of August there will be no webinar, but then there will be a webinar the third Tuesday of August. And I'm floating around the idea. I was going to do a webinar on sleep. That's definitely still coming, but I think for that webinar, what we're going to do is actually talk about back to school and how to be prepared for back to school with your kids. So I would love to have you join us. Check out our website for the registration so you can get signed up for that. It's not up yet, but it will be up by tomorrow. Perfect. Well, again, I appreciate you being here. Hope you have a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon.